What is a public adjuster? A public adjuster is an advocate for the policyholder who represents the public and presents insurable loss to the insurance company on behalf of the homeowners. That's important to know what a public adjuster is. We're licensed, state bonded, and fingerprinted by the state. My goal is to educate you on how the insurance policy provides coverage. Also show you how the insurance process works, the dangers of handling your claim, and show you how I can provide a valuable service to you. I'm also going to show you how I can obtain money for your damages and get you paid everything you need so you can repair your property. Here's a pop quiz for you. Do you know what type of insurance policy you have? HO1, HO2, maybe an HO3 policy? Do you know what's covered under your insurance policy? How much coverage do you have? And what is your deductible? What happens to your insurance when you file a claim? Some people want to know, does it go up? Does it stay the same? Will I have an increased premium if I do file a claim? And I say, well, do you know what type of policy you have? Because there's a lot of different policies out there. There's like an HO1 all the way through HO8 and HO10. But there's a difference between the two, and there's different reasons to have them. And I've come across so many people that have the wrong insurance policy type that does not apply to the property that they're living in. My business is about helping homeowners. As a licensed profession, I'm going to tell you all the things you need to know and how I can get you paid $1,000 more with me as a licensed professional than going and presenting the loss on your own. This was written in Smart Money magazine by an insurance critic. She used to be an insurance adjuster, and she wrote 80% of policyholders accept damage appraisals without seeking an independent opinion. Those 80% get only about 25 to 40 cents on the dollar. That was written in Smart Money magazine back in 1994. Public adjusters attain about 574% more. If you look up OPEGA and Google it, you'll come up with it. It should show up on the Florida State's government website, because that's where I got this from. And what they do is the government of state of Florida has basically supported that what we do as public adjusters. Policyholders who use public adjusters receive an estimated $9,379 on their claim as compared to about $1,391. Those policyholders who use a public adjusters can see a difference of about 574%. I got to tell you, I on average get more than about 574% when I reopen a claim, but there is probably some around about that usually nationwide. It really is pretty accurate that we do get so much more money than you would get on your own. So now here's a scenario to look at. Let's say rain got into the roof, blew a couple shingles off, and came into the second floor through the bedroom. It's that picture right there with the ceiling fan. Down to the first floor is this picture right here, all the way down to the laminate flooring. And have we all seen how standing water on a laminate flooring can cause it to buckle like this? This is how an insurance company can view your claim. Now, this is just if an insurance adjuster comes out to take a look at the claim without being represented by a public adjuster. That would be without me as a public adjuster representing you. They would do the exterior, maybe a minimum roof repair for missing shingles, drywall repair, minimum charge, spot seal, paint ceiling, one coat, tape to protect the fan instead of having it paid to be removed, clean and deodorize the carpet, and an appearance allowance for the slight cupping of the wood for the floor. Now, I really mean I see this a lot when I go down in so many neighborhoods. I'll see shingles missing on the roof or even have been repaired with an obvious color of shingle that doesn't clearly match the rest of the roof. That's probably because that they presented a loss, and this is more like the insurance estimate that they received. And they're probably just not certain why, though this is basically what they think is what they're supposed to get. Again, 25 to 40 cents on the dollar. Now, here's how I would present the loss. This is looking at it, the extent of the damage represented as far as a public adjuster would present the loss on your behalf. And that's the reason why we have a public adjuster, is because it's to make a level playing field for both you and the insurance company. The insurance adjuster represents the insurance company, and what I do is I represent you. And you'll see, look at all these different other add-ons that we have here in this scenario. Everything from remove, reset drapes, replace affected drywall, ceilings, 2 coats, dust covers to protect throughout the home, hardwood continuous flooring, we're going to get paid for that. A proper elevation required to replace 2,800 square feet of shingles. So, I mean, we look at elevations. Repatching is not what I campaign for. I campaign to have it restored. Because the purpose of policy is to indemnify the loss. That means bring it to pre-loss condition. And unless a patch blew off the roof, I don't see a reason why we would put a patch back on the roof. Things that we do for the policyholder. The policy is intended to bring the property to pre-loss condition. And that's the reason why you bought the policy for your home. And what I do and what my firm does, we evaluate the coverage, we document the loss, we ensure the policy conditions are met, prepare the damage estimates, present the property, and we also schedule the appointments. We handle the telephone calls, write the letters, we obtain experts such as building engineers, or a plumbing report from a plumber, or if we need to have an emergency tarping done or a tree removed by a professional tree removal service. Basically, one call does all. I will get all this done for you. All you have to do is just call me and notify me of a loss. I come do a consultation and inspection, and if there's something I can do to help you, I'll offer my services. So basically, one call pretty much does all. This is what your policy covers. Think of this. Anytime you think you see a damage on your home, they might be covered by your policy. Under most common types of policy, damage has to be sudden and accidental and not specifically excluded. Now that's a big thing, because always think about that. Sudden and accidental, that is the primary reason that people get paid for any money for any damages on their property. Some common perils are typically fire, smoke, fireplace, frying pan, lightning, puff back, as you can see here on this wall with this wallpaper. That's a little more profound, just to kind of bring it to light and exactly what happens, because a lot of furnaces, such as oil-based furnaces, work on fuel, and fuel can combust inside the furnace like an engine. It can backfire, and it happens a lot in the fall when they start them up after sitting all summer long. This can actually happen a lot, and you actually see this little bit of smoke traces on the wall right behind the vents. I have gotten people paid on an average of about $17,000 to $18,000 from damage just due to smoke claims from a puffback. Common perils are ice damming, weight of ice and snow, collapse, and vehicles are running into cars. Quite often you'll see a lot of these ice dammings around in the springtime when you have those freezing conditions at night, and it goes back to thawing during the day. And as the snow starts to thaw, it works its way underneath the shingle into the paper underneath, and as it goes into paper, it goes all the way into the plywood, and it actually works its way into the insulation inside the attic. And since the attic is warm, this creates this warmth inside the attic that creates all this reason why the precipitation of water can seep inside. And if you've ever seen maybe some droplets of water on your ceiling drywall for no reason, even though there's no way there could be plumbing or leaking going on, this is where the actual water gets in at, and we call it ice damming. And when I see these icicles across the house underneath the gutter, that really is a typical telltale sign that there probably is some ice damming in that home. Another part of this picture down here at the bottom right, you'll see that cracked rafter. That happens a lot when the weight of ice and snow becomes too much for the actual part of the roof to actually hold up to. This quite often happens in big heavy snowstorms, kind of like what happened the year 2014-2015 Boston storm up in New England. They had so much snow, and it happened so bad that they ended up with about 3 or 4 feet of snow on roofs, and it just was too much, and a lot of it just gave way and ended up with these cracked rafters. That's usually a pretty big insurance claim, and in most cases it's covered under most homeowner policies. So can you imagine how much money it would cost to repair that in an attic? Wind and hail, that's covered under most policies. Trees that blow onto houses, shingles that blow off, siding that blows off, rainstorms, let's say roof leaks, skylights, water under the sill. It has to hit above the ground though. Anything that touches the ground first before it enters the home would be filed underneath flood policy. So unless you have a flood policy, I wouldn't be able to get you paid for it. But if it enters the home from a tree, or comes through a hole that was poked into by a tree, or a tree falling on a property, that would be covered. And if the tree is on the house, that would be covered to get it removed. And a lot of people call me. I've had so many people call me and ask me if it's a neighbor's tree and the neighbor's tree fell on your house, but it was on their property line before it fell. Who pays to have the damage repaired and how it works? Well, that's a question. I'll tell you the answer to it is if you only pay for a policy to cover you for loss, you're the only beneficiary on the insurance policy that you buy. So you can get paid for the damage on the tree that caused damage to your property, but nobody can collect on your insurance policy but you. So whose responsibility is to get it removed? Well, it's yours since the tree fell on your property. So what I do is I represent you, and I'll get you paid for the tree removal. I'll also get you paid for the damages. I'll get everything taken through your insurance, and you don't have to worry about anything about your neighbor's business. That doesn't matter to you. And it doesn't matter if the tree trunk was on their property line before the tree blew over, because it still falls under your insurance policy to have the damage repaired and the tree removed off your house, but not the stump. The stump would still remain on the neighbor's house, and it's up to the neighbor to take care of the stump themselves. Common perils: access to plumbing systems to prevent further damage to the building, a tear out to replace ceramic floors and walls, and so on. As you see, a lot of the wall here have to be removed. This scenario shows maybe like a concrete style floor underneath tile, where as you see, there's a lot of houses that are built on slabs rather without the crawl space and without the basement. This can be a lot of damage that's actually taken repair. If you have to jack up the concrete to get to the area that caused the problem, the plumbing, or if it's electrical, or if it's anything that has to be repaired and you have to cut into your material of your home, that most likely would be covered by insurance. If it's a frozen pipe, then I can get the actual pipe paid for if it's split and caused that damage. But if it's just a general repair, that I can't get the actual plumbing paid for, but all the cutting and relaying all the new tiles and things and putting all that back, that's usually covered by your homeowner's insurance. But it's really the way you present it is the way you get paid. It's not just some simple task of just asking an insurance company to write up an insurance estimate and won't get it done. So it's really important to know how this works. Accidental discharge of overflow of water, toilets, sinks, tub overflows, this is all covered. A dishwasher or an ice maker machine, washing machines and hot water heater leaks, that all is covered. Backup of plumbing system caused by a blockage, supply or waste pipe leaking, freezing of plumbing and heating and air conditioning. This is all most likely covered under your homeowner's insurance policy. But I always have to take a look at the actual policy before I can really make a statement that it's really covered. I'm just going by a general HO3 policy, generalized, most likely it is covered. So really for free, I will come over and take a look and give you my advice on what I think is the best. And if you want me to represent you and get you paid, this is how I would do it. I'll offer you my services, and then you can just basically hire me privately, and I'll represent you, and I'll get the money for you so you can get your house repaired. Some other common perils: aircraft, falling of objects, theft, vandalism, graffiti, eggs on siding, theft and vandalism, tenant vandalism, riot and civil commotion. If you're a landlord, you're probably very familiar with tenant vandalism. It all can happen so easily. Riot and civil commotions, yep, that's covered. When people do protesting and the protesting gets out of hand and causes property damage, that is probably covered under your policy. And just one phone call, I can probably get that taken care of. Let's take a look at accidental damages, even if they're caused by a property owner. Spills on the carpet, cracked ceramic tiles, melted siding from a barbecue grill, mold, damage caused by children, and yes, even acts of God, although most insurance agents will tell you acts of God aren't covered. But really, is God even written in the insurance policy? Not that I've seen in the past, all the years since 2007, since I've been practicing. But I don't know why even agents even say the word God and how it represents an insurance. Does not make any sense to me. These are what surprisingly may be covered: flooded basements, AC line blockages, hardware flooring damage, damages to property during a burglary, theft of copper pipes, swimming pools, fences, and raccoons. And I guess if you're wondering why a raccoon would be covered, is because raccoons are in the bear family, which is a mammal. And if a mammal causes damage in your property, it's most likely covered. But if it is a squirrel or a mouse, that would not be covered because they're not mammals. They're considered rodents, and rodents are usually excluded in homeowners policy, and it's just not a claim. These are other types of insurance policy for public adjusting. We do homeowners, flood insurance. I do business. I do commercial. I do industrial and boiler and machinery policy, marine policy, condo, farm, church insurance, and renters.